Oh, whoops. I'm here, so hello. Hey, good morning. Hello, good morning. Just need to take that off the screen there. A little bit of a clue as to what I'd like to talk to you about this morning. Portuguese food map. Let me just pop that up again for a minute. I didn't mean it to be there just then. It's one of those mornings where Mrs. Emma's been in the studio before me doing a global call to Bali, of all places. Can't go there at the moment. I don't think anyone can go there at the moment, can they? But she's talking to a pal in Bali. What that means is, well, it's very nice for her, but I come into the studio and there are all sorts of changes that I haven't bargained for. Not this one, though. This is a little bit of a fun we can have this morning where we can go around the Portugal food map, which I found on a lovely little Facebook page this morning. En Cultura. I don't know what they do. It's in solid Portuguese, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to open up their website and have a look because they deserve the credit for this. We will come back to that. How many of these have you had? How many of the following have you had? Papas de sarabulho, feijoada à transmontana, francesinha, of course, a classic, ovos molos, queijo de cera, leitão de barrada, caldeirada de peja, pastel de Belém. Oh, come on, we've all had those, haven't we? But I'm not sure what that thing is behind it on the screen. It looks like a broken crystal wand, which I don't think is a famous part of Portuguese or Lisboeta culture. Choco frito, have you had those? Have you had migas? And surely to goodness, if you haven't, you must, had the dourada grelhada, the grilled on coals, over coals, the famous dourada. That's the silver bream, isn't it? Golden bream, I beg your pardon, the golden bream, classic dish of Portugal. How many of those have you had? We will return to that. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, of course. Can anyone score 10 out of 10? Let's see how everyone's doing this morning. And let me calm down a little bit. Slight buzz in my earphones. I'm never sure, headphones, if it's me or not. I mean, we can never be sure, can we, if it's us or if it's you or if it's the world. But is anyone else hearing a little bit of a buzz? What I've got it down as is a little bit of Portuguese earthing on the system. I've got a lot of extension leads and stuff. And I think there's an earthing failure somewhere in there, which is causing a bit of a buzz, which is sometimes when my arm in short sleeve shirt touches my computer, I feel a little bit of a tingle, which is a little bit worrying sometimes. Anybody else have that? And can you hear the buzz I'm talking about? Guten Morgen, alle. Oh, stop it. Okay, just get it out of your system, everybody this morning, okay? England beat Germany. Yes, of course, doesn't happen very often, which puts England through to the quarterfinals of the Euros 2020, in case you weren't aware of that. Ich muss heute Deutsch benutzen. I'm not sure. I hope that's a savory thing you've translated into German there, Ian, unless you are a very skilled German speaker. But I think he's just rubbing it in a little bit there this morning. So go ahead, brag while you can, you England fans. Bon dia alegria from Mike and Maggie, getting our Portugal fix, much needed. Casa Campeón. I hope you're doing okay there. And yes, this is a good one this morning. I mean, it is Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday. Garvo might drop the grouting for a moment and join me. He's been busy tiling, and there is I've had this myself, grout fever. When you've been in a confined space too long, I mean, maybe grout's changed. It's a lot safer to use now, but I remember getting a bit high myself and my mate Walt when we tiled a bathroom once in there for too long, and got a bit of grout fever, I think. Is Gary going to be able to make it? Is he suffering from that? Has grout changed in recent times? But he's been tiling. He's into the grouting phase. But he might put down tools to join us this morning. Always a pleasure to have his company. So yeah, your Portugal fix at your service here, Casa Campeón, Mike and Maggie there. Andrew Gilchrist, good morning, Portugal. He's only got about 9 days to go, I think. Dear old Andrew and Margarita there. Bon dia. I saw you. I've seen your comment ahead of time, Stephen. Bon dia, senores, from Elralinda in Finland. How excellent. Queijo de cera. Is that the only one you've had of those? 1 out of 10 for Elra of those dishes. What a pro, says Stephen. Yes, I know. It wasn't meant to be there like that. Hello, hello, and a green screen playing up a little bit as well. There, let me just give that a little. It annoys me. It probably doesn't annoy you as much as it annoys me. And you probably wouldn't have even known unless I'd drawn your attention to it. But the green screen can start to fizz a little bit. Yes, what a pro indeed, Stephen. Good morning to you. Drew is here as well. Hola, bon dia de Australia. How's it going in Australia? Hold on a minute, Andrew Gilchrist. 4 days and counting. I'm sure it was 10 days 2 days ago. What's happened? Have you truncated yourself in some way or found a way to time travel or something? And yes, very good question. Very good intervention and question there. Where is the bacalhau? Has it been snuck into any of those other dishes? Would it be in the caldeirada de peja, possibly? Have they stuck it in there? Because that is an omission, isn't it? Obviously, the great Portuguese dish of bacalhau. And the great cultural indoctrination process that one must go through to be truly Portuguese and embrace the bacalhau. I mean, don't do that. Don't embrace the bacalhau in the supermarket. It's unhygienic. But get some, take it home, soak it for 3 days or 3 weeks or however long your recipe suggests. And you got to indulge at some point and find your favorite of the 365, or is it 3,650 bacalhau recipes of Portugal? But that's a good question, Maria Rosa. Ask anything about Portugal questions this morning before we continue with that light-hearted food quiz. And also, I want to tell you about a place I went to yesterday. Took the kids out to an art gallery. Well, I took them out to Caldas yesterday and tried to get some culture into their little heads yesterday in Caldas Gerania, opposite the shopping center. I mean, they want to go to the shopping center, don't they? As good trainee consumerists would want to do. And so we're in the La Vie shopping mall, which is very manageable for anybody who doesn't like shopping malls but needs to go into one occasionally. I recommend the one in Caldas. It used to be called something else. Donna Jacqueline, if she's tuned in this morning, will tell us what the old name was, or some of you Caldasians of old will know what the name was. Interesting little taste, Sabores de Portugal, I think, with a little bit of an English subset in there, just outside the shopping mall as well. We can get English clobber as well, because there's quite a few expats and British expats around the Caldas area who want their Marmite and baked beans and stuff like that. Anyway, just across the road, if you park in the basement of the La Vie shopping mall, and it is a little one, but a nice food court, all the things you might, most of the things you might need. You can come out of the shopping mall and go across to Dom Carlos Park, not named after me, I hasten to add. Wouldn't that be great? But over to the park. And in the park is a classically well-hidden treasure, Portuguese treasure, understated, incredibly modest, the José Malhoa Art Gallery, Museo. José, let me give it its correct title, the José Malhoa Musée. That's what I've got in front of me. I'm not sure if that's right, but surely it should be the Musée. Oh, gone to something else. They've gone to another. What? En Cultura does horoscopes. This is very confusing. I thought that was a vestige of Mrs. M's popping into the studio this morning. No, something quite different. But anyway, there's a museum, an art gallery dedicated, named after José Malhoa, who apparently is also a recording artist and singer, interestingly. That's confusing, isn't it? But a classic artist of Portugal. And this is a must-visit place for you. José Malhoa Museum has the largest collection of works by its patron and an important collection of paintings and sculpture from the 19th and 20th centuries, revealing itself to those who visit as the Museum of Portuguese Naturalism. Those expecting to see nakedness will not be disappointed, but that is not what Portuguese naturalism means. That is a type of painting, not a form of undress. That would be Portuguese naturism, which is an entirely different program. Anyway, and if interesting that Garvo should join us at this point, the painting collections are completed by a section of Cerâmica das Caldas, which is the famous ceramic work of Caldas, of course, which are peppered around the shopping centre, quite rightly so, articulated around the importance of Rafael Bordalo Pinheiro's work for local faience, don't know that word, and the unique set of 60 terracotta sculptures of the Passion of Christ. And they are very special. The kids weren't that bothered, especially with me telling them, don't touch that, don't touch that. And it wasn't that much fun for them. But then when we moved into the area where the Passion of Christ sculptures are, they were agog. what are they doing to that man? You know, it was. I mean, as those sculptures are meant to do, I'm sure, just to really make you think and arrest your imagination or arrest your consciousness for a moment and really exercise your imagination. Beautiful gallery, works from 19th and 20th centuries, but I think there might be other things in there. But it's a really good spread, and as I said before, and typically Portuguese. So modest. There it is in the park, hidden away almost. Let's find out if Gary's been there. Live from Alvaiazra, Garvo Austin is here. Have you been to that museum, Gary?
I'm sorry, I've just come in, so I may have missed what you're on about there. I caught the tail end of it.
You know the park in Caldas, the beautiful park, the Dom Carlos Park. You've been into there, and there's a museum and art gallery there, which I've walked around many times thinking, oh, it only looks a little sort of place. Can't be much in there. Went in there yesterday with the kids. What a delight.
Strange little things, little pearls you come across on your travels, isn't it? That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And I imagine would be of great interest to your brother, a fine artist himself. So shout out to you this morning. Brother Austin, over this way on the Silver Coast Terrace this morning. All right, Gary. The other thing we're discussing this morning is, I don't know if you can see this with it being so small on the screen, but there's a list of Portuguese foods from En Cultura, a Facebook page. There is the papas de sarabulho, there is the feijoada à transmontana, there's the francesinha, the ovas molas, the queijo de cera, the leitão de beirada, caldeirada de peja, pastel de Belém, choco frito, migas, and the dourada. I imagine you've had a few of those in your time.
I've probably had about 75% of those.
7 out of 10, or close to 8 out of 10 for Garvo this morning. And how rude of me not to ask you how you are and how the grouting is going this morning.
Well, the grouting was going on late last night. It's not quite finished, but we're almost there. But I've been running around like a headless chicken trying to find a decent place to get a signal. And join you this morning. And anything could go wrong here. Anything could go wrong. I may disappear at any moment. The signal could disappear. So just keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. But it sounds delightful where you are. You're in a corner of your garden.
No, I wish it was. I'm actually, there's a little picnic site in the town, and it lies at the back of the sports centre and the swimming bath complex. And it's a really lovely, peaceful place. I mean, they've got, I will be able to move my camera because I'm on my cam at the moment. I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, it's just a delightful place to come. Can you see the barbecue place here? And all the picnic tables behind.
We should remark upon this phenomenon of Portugal. This is a Parque de Merendas, isn't it? This is the civic picnic facilities where you'll be in there like this, where Gary's on it. You're presumably on your own in there, on your Todd at the moment, Gary.
Yeah, it's a bit too early in the morning for anybody else to come out, I think. And
the
sun's just come through the clouds, so it's perfect timing, really.
But this is a remarkable thing. These are everywhere, all over Portugal, aren't they? Civic picnicking facilities, and there'll be a certain time, probably a Sunday lunchtime. The Portuguese will turn up en masse, meet each other, have a picnic outdoors, and then bring the most elaborate picnics that you could ever imagine. But what a lovely thing it is! I mean, could you tell us a little bit more about the facilities that you have behind you there?
Right, might even be able to do better than that because I might be able to move the camera so you can see. Marvelous. As I say, it's a bit hit and miss. So, right, let's just do a quick pan. Yep. So we're in the little bit of forest that lies behind the. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I'm just trying to do a little bit of research on the phenomenon of the Parque de Merendas. But we can see you beautifully and see that view beautifully. That's fantastic. And
well, you got toilets, you got barbecues. Actually, over there, just through the trees, is actually a campsite which they've been make. Yeah.
Amazing.
And down through that way, well, that goes off towards the swimming pool complex and the little sports centre, and there's a cafe down there as well. As we come round here, where that green netting is, right there, then you can see a wooden building through the netting. Well, that's like a kind of a wooden windmill that they're rebuilding, and it's one of those ones that turns round. So that's quite nice.
To face the incoming wind, very good.
We got the barbecue facilities over there, and the loo's over there, and just out going this way, there's like one of those little exercise tracks.
Yeah,
you can go on for it's about a mile or so. Yeah. So let me just try and reset you here. This is all very precarious.
That is superb. And I'm just putting in, whenever you drive around Portugal, birds are singing their hearts out as well. Whenever you drive around Portugal, you will see the brown signs. The ones that are of special interest to us are things like Parque das Merendas, the Miradouro, the beauty spot viewing point as well. These are the great things to look out for. So the Miradouro, pair of binoculars is the little icon, and Parque das Merendas, where you'll see a little graphic of a picnic area as well. But they are so elaborate, as Gary's pointing out there. Running water,
Yes,
bread
do you know
ovens.
what? This is really unusual as well, Carl. This has actually got electricity. It's there's a little PowerPoint over there. I've just noticed it on the tree, so you can plug anything electrical in. What electrical things you'd have on a picnic, I don't know, but whatever. I suppose you can do a bit of a sing song, couldn't you? And a bit of a
karaoke. Yeah, you could do a karaoke. I think it's for the kids, isn't it, to charge up their phones, stop the kids being grumpy.
probably. Yeah,
so they can insta the picnic. And what the other wonderful thing about these places, Gary, you're there, no one else is there. It's quite a sort of set time when families turn up, so you can enjoy them to yourself for a large part of the day and the week. But
absolutely, yeah. Because if you're not working, we don't have to work. It's heaven really, because you can come when you want.
Yeah,
and weather like this, I mean, it's just beautiful.
It is.
So yeah.
Absolutely lovely. And there's no CCTV. There's no perimeter fence. Things aren't locked up. Things are done based on trust. Very rarely does anything get vandalized or messed about with. People tidy up after themselves. It is actually in many ways a perfect representation, I think, of what you and I love about Portuguese culture, right?
I think so. I mean, we should have more of this stuff in the world, I think, and take care of it more, because it's here for everybody to use. It's free, and it's just a lovely place to come, just to, as a family. I mean, you can have your barbecue over there, and the family meal, and these lovely stone tables that they've got are just brilliant.
Yes.
So yeah, I think it's good. It's a good thing we don't get back in Britain too much.
Yeah, and it just sounds so natural as well. The birds are singing, the wind is whistling through the trees. Absolutely lovely scene, and thank you for going to the effort of being there and being able to talk about that. Let's see, as well as where is the bacalhau. Let's find out if anyone's got any questions. Garvo very kindly joining us this morning to give his perspective on anything you want to ask about Portugal. He is based in central Portugal. That's where Alvaiazara is. And you'll find these picnic places all over Portugal. But he is a specialist on central Portugal this morning. And that rather excellent valley, or what is it? That part of the world that links Tamar to Coimbra. It's quite popular, isn't it? I mean, has it got a name? Is it called Expat Valley or anything like that?
I think we've labelled it that. I don't think it has. But I know it's kind of a, how can I say, it's like an unmarked valley. It's because you're surrounded by hills, and over there you've got the hills that lead down to the river Zezera, and at the back of me we've obviously got Serra de Alvaiazara. So it kind of runs in a valley, and that opens out into like vineyards and olive groves, flattens out into lovely farmland, and that kind of runs then all the way down to Tamar. Going the other way, we start to go up and up and up towards Coimbra, and there's probably a few more vineyards up there, not so many olive groves. And of course, as you go out that way, you've got Pinella before you get to Coimbra, and obviously the Roman ruins place at Candeja.
Yeah.
But here's a good thing, right? Not many people know this, and this is going to fly the flag for home here. The Roman ruins up there, right? I haven't been yet. I will go and have a look. But it is rumoured here that, and you can see this in the lovely museum we've got, that just it's probably about a kilometre out of the town, Romania, there lies a giant Roman settlement which is possibly bigger than that one up in Candeja.
Oh,
but
really?
they've never had the money to excavate it. They've got finds and items in the museum, but it is rumoured to kind of dwarf that one up there. So
really,
yes, it's very, very old place around here, very ancient.
Very ancient, yeah. And of course, you do have a lovely museum at Alvaiazara. I've been in there with the kids. It's a beautiful building and a beautiful collection there as well.
Did you go around the motorbike one as well? The little motorbikes selection?
No, not seen that. I don't remember.
There's a little motorbike museum attached to it.
Oh, how lovely! Because I mean, that's a lovely part of Portuguese culture as well, isn't it? The old boys you see who've had looks like the same motorbike since pre-revolution.
The big piece of leather, whatever it is.
Yes, it's the reverse Batman cape, isn't it? To stop, I don't know, things flies and stuff flying towards you. But it's a really an incredible part of the culture, and clearly those old boys have looked after their bikes and kept had them for many decades, and they're maybe destined to go in the Alfazra motorbike museum there. Going back to our lovely illustration here. And saying hello to a few people. Sorry to just block you out for a moment there, Gary. And actually, I forgot to put myself back on the screen with you. Oh, yeah, we're nearly either side of that. That could work. The thing behind the pastel de nata is the takeaway package. Oh, there he is. Jim White, bon dia, from Baltimore in the States this morning. Paul is here. Greetings from San Rafael in the beautiful and sunny Algarve. Yeah, it's been a bit cloudy and cold and blowy here in the Silver Coast. It looks lovely where you are this morning, Gary.
Well, I was going to go up the top of the mountain there, but this morning I've got some pictures. Actually, I'll send it to you. Obviously, the weather front you've got there coming off the Atlantic. Excuse me, and this happens here where the Serra de Alva is, acts like a buttress to the weather coming in. And just this morning, just the top of the cloud was just like falling down our side of the mountain, a bit like a waterfall. So it's quite often you get a microclimate. I thought it was going to be dull here, but the sun's come out. It's nice.
Oh, it looks beautiful. In the Algarve, where the flower petals open up when you pass to say good morning and welcome. You should be writing copy for the Algarve Tourist Board. I mean, they actually obviously need all the help they can get right now. Bless them. What a difficult time for those guys. Actually, I'm going to stay with that long shot because it's really beautiful to see that behind you. Mark Stoll here. Bon dia. Any questions, folks? Well, we've got Gary here, especially about Central Portugal. I'm very happy to answer from whatever you think I might be able to help you with currently in the Silvan Coast. Looks like the airport package. Oh, yeah, the airport package with the pastel de nata. This is the nice little packaging where by the time you get home, you've got probably you've eaten half of them, and the others have been rattling around in a pastel de nata packet, all mashed up with custard squeezing out the end there like a toothpaste tube. But you love them anyway. Good morning, bon dia. Super windy last night and this morning. And we have to say, Maria, how was the weather there? Nigel Henry, yes, come on, Gary. You're in the dad joke though, right here. About 5 of those, 5 out of 10 for Nigel Henry. Very good. Bon dia, Alegria. Doreen Reyes. 5 more to discover then, Nigel, in that case. Donna Grassa, I imagine, has had most of those. I think her ancestors come from Transmontana up there in this sort of Minho area. So she may well be familiar with the papas de sarabulho, which is a kind of not custard, a porridge-based dish, real country food. We'll come back to that. Pastel de nata airport package. Yeah, wouldn't know. Never buy it there. Oh, yes, slightly offended, I think. No, not the airport pastel de natas. Missing Portuguese octopus salad. Do you like that, Gary?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, me too. I do feel a bit bad after that Netflix program. You know, my dear and beloved friend the octopus, or whatever it was called. But I think that stopped a lot of people eating octopus. That particular show. Do
you not think though? You know when you go for the octopus and you look at it, and I mean it's okay if it's chopped up because it's fairly unrecognised. But when they leave it as long sort of tentacles, you're a bit sort of reticent to going for it because as you get near the plate, it might be sort of job that rams on and pulls you in.
Yes, or if it's still holding a number plate or a bucket of maize. From the sea. Bon dia todos from Jacqueline CDM this morning, like me here on the Silver Coast. Paul, hola bon dia from Bright Hampshire this morning, feeling a bit down today due to all the border changes causing confusion. It's awful prior to our trip via the Plymouth to Santander next week. So fingers crossed for you, Paul. We do feel your pain with that. And I was saying that to Mrs. M. I don't know if you agree with this, Gary. This is the problem. This constant state of confusion. Human beings are quite good at adapting, aren't they? When they know things that seem a little bit more certain. But daily or half daily changes as things seem to be. Or like me, I don't even bother to try and keep up with what's going on anymore because I can't give a reliable answer to everybody because I don't think many people actually know, the official line, and it changes all the time. And people are downright peed off and confused and upset by this. This is a strange atmosphere we've got at the moment, for sure.
Well, I think you're right, Carl, because if you think about how the human body is made, if you're kept in limbo in a state of suspense, not knowing, as we all are, you're using up a lot of your energies and, you're burning out quite rapidly. And it's showing in a lot of people, the nerves are shot.
Yes.
They're starting to get anxious when they go out, when they finally do go out.
Yeah.
And, there's some horrible changes going on, which you don't know how long they're going to last for in
Yeah.
like the human psyche. I don't like it. It's not nice.
No,
It's not nice.
it's interesting that you're seeing that in the same way as I was a couple of days ago. My suggestion to myself in getting that, I was feeling that too, is to create. You've got to create your own certainty, haven't you? In these times, that seems really important. Otherwise, you're at sea with the cultural, contextual society changes. If you haven't got any of your own binding posts and landmarks and routines, it's going to make it a lot harder. So that's what occurred to me. It's just like create your own, as much of your own certainty. And let's face it, life is uncertain. There is an amount of it which is good for us, but we're there is a confusion pandemic as much as anything else going on at the moment, I would say.
I think so. It's okay. We know there's a virus out there, and it has killed a lot of people, and a lot of people are ill. But like you say, it's disaster capitalism, isn't it? It's there is more here, and then they're tweaking it and making it their own little instrument of control. Yeah. And how long can we go on like this for before people snap?
Yeah,
there's got to be a different. You know what I'm going to say, but I'm not going to say it. Not today. Not today. But you know what I'm going with it. But
absolutely,
there's got to be a break in this cycle somehow. There must be.
Yes, and absolutely. I think we have to. This is what this is about. Good Morning Portugal, Expats Portugal. It's about community and creating our own sense of connection and certainty. We so need that at the moment. I think some routines, some recognizable faces. This is what makes human beings feel comfortable, isn't it? In that Sapiens book, for example, that was very popular 2 or 3 years ago. Humans ideally live in communities of about 150 people. Apparently, that's where you start feeling unsettled when it gets bigger than that. And that's your family, extended family in the village, if you like. And it's really important, I think, that we reinstall that for ourselves now in a world of such uncertainty. Is get on really good terms with those closest to you and in your community. Recognize the faces, or know where you stand. At least you don't have to like everyone, do you? But knowing where you stand is really important, and creating a certainty of connection and community. So that's what we're trying to do for sure here. Let's hear your ideas about that, everybody. Elra says, I've had all of this. She's a 10 out of 10 there for Elra then. I was just drooling over the cheese. That's quite a good way of claiming it for yourself, drooling over it like that. That's what some kids do, and it is lick the cake so their siblings can't have any, which is an interesting strategy. Did you ever do that with Terence and your sister?
Don't think so, no.
Must be just me then. Don't have cake at Carl's house. Note to self. Bacalhau is king. I've got to ask you, bacalhau for you. I mean, I do see it as a bit of a bit of a initiation into Portuguese culture. What's your relationship with bacalhau?
I really quite like bacalhau. Bacalhau com nata is very nice. It's very delicious. On the other hand, my brother thinks it's awful and smells like a wet Alsatian. So, but I think he's judging it by that fish that you get in the supermarket, the dried, unprocessed, cooked stuff, which does pong a bit strange, I must admit. Well, it's not appetizing, is it, to look at?
No, but it is a cultural shift. When you walk into the supermarket, especially with your kids, I mean, that's when it's embarrassing. So you go in and you're pretending to be all kind of installed in the culture, aren't you? Yes, I am. I may be an expat, but I'll wander around my continent like I'm a local. And you've got your kids with you, and they go, "Oh, what's that smell?" Shut up! We're trying to fit in here. You're not helping. No, it stinks. Shush. But agree with you. So Garvo likes it creamy. I quite like that particularly con natas as well. Tell us your favourite bacalhau recipes, everybody. Yes, a good question. I mean, if you have every patishko on there, it's going to have to be a much bigger poster than this. But rissois camarão, I do like that a great deal. That's the little prawn rissole. I mean, rissole's not a nice word, is it? But you get the
Only because it sounds like something.
Jeff Jackson is here. Hola, bom dia from a roasting USA. Yeah, I was seeing that on the news. 100-degree temperatures over there. Morning. Are you all packed yet? Oh, that's from Stephen to Andrew there. Austin, Andy by Austin. Bom dia. Always look forward to your midweek meanderings, Mr. Munson. Basically, Andy has figured out that I make it up as I go along, especially on a Wednesday. But thankfully, Gary's here to help with that. I'm allergic to diesel fumes. Seriously, for a moment. Can I survive and thrive in Portugal? Or are the diesel fumes quite widespread? I mean, every European country is doing its best to end diesel engines by the end of August, aren't they? I think.
Not much diesel around here.
Yeah, well, let's just have a zoom in there.
We're not exactly choking on it, are we, to be honest?
No. I think there is a lot of respite, as Garvo is making the point there, Gina. I mean, obviously in the cities, there's still a lot of diesel engines at play. But I mean, you know, this is going to be ruled out. This is going to be a where once upon a time in that Parc de Morendas there, you'd have heard everyone arriving in their, you know, diesel engines. They'll all be arriving in electric cars silently and stealthily. You won't even hear them arrive until everyone gets out of the car and there's the hubbub of Portuguese families in the said area there. So I think you're going to be long term. You're going to be all right, Gina. Central Portugal, room to breathe. Gary,
I do worry about this electric car thing, which all sounds very green and lovely and this, that, and the other. But it's the batteries that worry me. The lithium that's got to come from the lithium mines, and lithium isn't particularly good stuff to try and dispose of. It is quite toxic. And I think we're going the wrong way. I think we should be looking at hydrogen. Hydrogen is the ultimate fuel because when you burn it, it turns back into water again.
Yes.
But maybe, you know, somebody's going to be making a lot of money out of electric cars, so they don't want to make hydrogen cars.
You cynic. But yes, I think you're right. Right.
Yeah, later on, they then agree with me.
Just say, Mario.
Look at a red spot appearing on my head, just moving around. Tell me, will you?
That's the vested interest who have you in their sights. The singer and the painter are different people. Thank you for that intervention on José Malheur. And while we're talking about the artist and not the singer, I'm not familiar with the singer's works, but I don't know how well you can see this on your screen, everybody. But this is one of his works, and this portrait of Queen Leonora, who, of course, is the founding. I was going to call it the founding dominatrix. I don't know why I was going to say that, but the founding matriarchal. In my mind, I must have dominatrix and matriarchal figures in the same box. But
just for a moment, then, I thought she got 3 arms.
Oh yes, well that's why she was. Well, yes, I don't think she does. And this beautiful portrait, a non-contemporaneous portrait by José Malheur, is in the museum that I mentioned. And she is luminous, this woman. I mean, I imagine she was like that in real life because she's quite a historical figure in Portugal. But the portrait is absolutely stunning. And when you see the close-up of her face and how it's captured, it is remarkable. So thoroughly recommend that museum. And also, yeah, my other favorite, if you're in Lisbon, you've got to go to the Gulbenkian as well, which is stunning too. More underrated and modest brilliance coming from Portugal. Back to let's see if there are any more questions here. Oh, good. Michael Heron's very happy. Got to talk to you about this, Gary. There was a notable football match yesterday afternoon, wasn't there?
There was, wasn't there? There was. Yes, we did watch it. The first half was I thought, oh no, this is just going to go the same way. And then whatever he said to him in the interval changed their mentality. Fair play to the midfield. They did a stunningly good job by bogging the Germans down. And then, like in the second half, they harried them. They made it difficult for them. They made them make mistakes. And when that German fella had an open goal and just blew past the bar, I thought, I think we're going to win this. I really think we're going to win this.
Yeah.
So yeah, fair play. Credit where it's due. A good performance to the boys there. Got to give them the due.
It was amazing. I mean, England fans are never happy, are they? Because other people were making that, the comment. And even afterwards, even after winning 2-0, some England fans like, yeah, well, they won, but it was, they played really, it's one of the worst matches I've seen. And it's like, well, come on. The atmosphere, I missed the first half, got in to watch the second half and really got into it. And I was thinking to myself, I can't believe I'm being drawn into this in such an emotional way. But the sound of the crowd, did you notice that as well? It just penetrates. You think like a brass band passing in the street. The sound of England fans or any football fans once the atmosphere turns like that and they think they're going to win, and they've got all these ideas of football coming home and winning the actual title or the championship there, it was I felt it. I could really feel it, welling up and emotions that I thought I had well dealt with or buried or something.
This goes back to what we were talking about in the man cave about tribalism.
Yeah,
we're all looking for a banner to stand under, aren't we? It's secretly in there, and you mentioned the other day when you went down to see the Portugal game, expecting there to be a lot of Portuguese there, so you could stand with them and be part of that group. Yeah. And it's a tribal thing. People, I think men more than probably women, but we need to be tribal. We need to be part of a greater force.
Yeah.
And that's where football comes out, really, but it can come out in some negative ways as well.
Too true.
Which aren't quite as beautiful, but hey ho, that's a different story, isn't it?
Part of the game, though, part of the roughy, tufty, and beautiful game that is. And I was thinking, come on, the camera crews. I don't know if they were British cameramen, but you say that it might not be a female thing, but the British cameramen seem to be zooming in quite a lot on female German fans and even crying German children. It's like, stop it, that's not funny.
But how many times have you seen crying English children in tears? And men. Yes. It was just nice for a change to see a German person and their children feel a bit of pain.
Stop it. Guessing you are. Yeah, Michael Heron is really happy. He's doing our podcast coverage. And the Man Cave Juniors, we call him and Richard, they come on at 9:00 sometimes, or pre-record something to give you a bit of a preview. Their podcast this week is going to have a very good atmosphere to it, I suspect. So good morning to you, Michael, who incidentally will be in this slot next Wednesday, live from Madeira. Garvo, you got a fan here in Andrew Gilchrist.
We had a good talk, actually, in the lockdown after the Man Cave.
Did you?
Yes, we did. We had in fact, myself, Andrew, and Joel all had a very good chat together, which we may share with you, depending, which way the light falls.
Thank you. That's what happens. Not only do these guys speak for 3 hours sometimes, they talk some more, which is quite extraordinary and testament to their intelligence and sensitivity, I would say. Caldash Gallery, we're going to a July the 4th luncheon in Caldash. That sounds like a good gig. So we'll have to stop and see this display. Please do, Maria Costa. You will not be disappointed with that. Maureen Connolly Martinez, bon dia. Looking forward to coming to Portugal in a few weeks for a reconnaissance trip, checking out Braga, Coimbra, Porto, and Évora. Finally, that is a beautiful itinerary. Very good. You won't go wrong with those places. Should Maureen be adding something to there, in your view, Gary?
There's so much to do, so many places to go. It's not a huge country, but there's an awful lot in it.
Yes.
The list could go on for hours. It really could. Even in this district, there's so many different places to go and see. So I come here for a long time and have a look. That's my tip. Come here for more than a week. Come here for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, and get a feel for the place.
2 years. 2 years. Okay, Connor
Come here and don't go back.
Yes. I need help moving to Portugal from the UK. I've heard there are professionals you can hire to help you do this. Is that in the physical moving or the visas? I have questions about visas. Do you know anyone who you can recommend to help me? Well, it's us. Not only do we help with that stuff as a rule and free of charge to a great extent on the Expats Portugal Forum, we have our premium membership, which will get you a bunch of discounts, Connor Rhodes. But you might also be interested in a new Expats Portugal plan, which is like a course of action, which will take you through that. Oh, Gary's a bit windy. We're going for the one-stop shop, step by step, and we're helping people. So you can sign up for that very soon. PM me, Carl at expatsportugal.com. If you're ready to move to Portugal and you want help step by step, we are introducing a new level of service for that. At your service with it, the new Expats Portugal plan. Good morning, everyone. Gemini Bradshaw is saying to us, good morning to you, Gemini. Got a lot of astrological references this morning. Belated bon dia from California. Hank's come on his way, hours away now from the plane ride to Portugal. Going to do my very best to have a beer with you. I want you to come to the Silver Coast, ideally, for a couple of reasons. One is to fall in love with it and be a neighbour, possibly, Hank, at some point. My goodness, we've got so many comments here. Let's get through these. Phil. Jealous. we're going to do the same, but my partner can't afford the 10-day isolation. This is part of the problem, isn't it? On the return to the UK, back in that situation. Nuno Mendes, my friend from Winsurance, who was here this morning. Great show yesterday, Nuno. Thank you. Good morning to all from him. Ola from Ron Shea in Cascais. I made it to Portugal. Well done, Ron. I think I've seen one or two of your messages about being here. I think you're delighted. It's safe to say. Hiya, Andrew. Any downside? I am a Portuguese Pollyanna, but I shouldn't say. You know, when you're moving, there will be disappointments and difficulties from time to time. Anything you want to report from either side of that comment? Hiya, Andrew. Flying into Lisbon, says Hank, and spending a month. That's great. And a welcome to Ron from Elra, even from Finland, former Portuguese now in Finland. Scouting the country is what Hank will be doing. Victoria's here. Hola, bon dia a todos. Thanks for sharing that, Garvo. I wonder what the wind we were just talking about. Michael Heron. Where would you recommend visiting in central Portugal with the family, Garvo? Okay, so he lives in Portugal himself, wants a family recommendation for central Portugal. What would you say, Garvo?
Well, you've got the triangle, haven't you? Really, you've got down Tomar, up to Coimbra, Pombal, and if you fancy a trip out to the Castelo Branco district, anywhere in that sort of locality, really, and you'll have plenty to do. There are plenty of things to see. You've got history, culture, river beaches, mountains, lakes, vineyards, olive groves, food, lots of wine, and just generally enjoy yourself.
Yeah, Tamar, you could go to Coimbra. It's a family friendly city in many ways, because I love it there because you see local people living in Coimbra still. They haven't been chased out by tourism. You see family life, and that's very reassuring, I think, if you're visiting as a family. Can be a little bit steep if you've got the strollers, as the Americans call them, and that it can be a bit of a steep when you go up into the Medina Gate and so on. But a really lovely city for families is Coimbra, but so is Tamar. I mean, if you can push the boat out and book into the Templarios Hotel. It's not it's a luxury hotel by Portuguese standards, and it's not a fortune, not a king's ransom in there. If you get a family suite in there, get a deal, you'll be right in the middle of town. You'll be able to go up to up in a tuk-tuk to the monastery. You'll be able to walk along the river. You'll be able to go walk in the lanes and have dinner at night. I mean, that would be a lovely weekend for a family, wouldn't it? In Tamar and in the Templarios Hotel.
Beautiful, exceptionally lovely. Because don't forget, you've got Fatima not far away as well.
Yeah.
Which is worth a visit.
Yes.
The list is endless, to be honest. I could sit here all day and talk about it, but just come here and see it. But Michael, if you're heading this way, let me know, because I might be able to help you out there.
There you go. Ron Shea is absolutely delighted. Look, I'm loving it here. Can't stop smiling. Isn't that a lovely feeling? This is a condition as well, Gary, isn't it? That when people walk around with that grin on their face. You still have it, don't you? Let's face it. I mean, you're somewhat seasoned now, but you have that Portugal grin, don't you? Portugal expat grin.
Where do you think you get all these wrinkles from and these,
That's right.
Yeah, it is lovely, right? And every morning I do it. I get up, put a nice cup of tea on, and walk out onto that back balcony and look out over Alviazra and the hills, and it's glorious. It is absolutely glorious. And I think, what a lucky man I am, how beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And worth remembering and noting that. And thank you for sharing that, Garvo. It reminds me of that Les Dawson joke, like my mother-in-law says she's got laughter lines, but nothing's that funny.
Thank you.
Considering July and August, not my mother-in-law, I hasten to add, although I must say she was a test pilot in a broom factory previously. Considering July and August are the months Portuguese migrants return home, I would expect it to increase, actually, but hoping it doesn't. Oh, that's the spike. People are concerned about the spike, or the spikes, plural. Is it normal that solicitors can do checks on property very quickly when buying? Not that I am complaining. Well, that does sound a bit unusual, I have to say, Paul. Quick checks and quick legal processes. Not sure what to say about that. I mean, you could ask for first-hand testimony in the forum, I think word of mouth is always good with these things, isn't it? Speak to other customers and see what their experience is. See if it might just be a lucky quirk that you're getting fast service and they're a very reputable person. It can happen, absolutely. But word of mouth is good, isn't it? With solicitors and legal things like that. Any kind of professional. Sold my house Quit my job. Been a busy girl. How are you? Says Victoria this morning. Maria Costa, my favourite event in Portugal. Right, I'm going to see if Gary cannot smile or laugh when I'm reading this out. My favourite event in Portugal is the blessing of the helmets in Fatima.
Comedic Tourette's.
We're sorry we failed, both of us. two post-middle-aged men biting their hands like teenagers. Sorry, Maria. Last year, of course, no event. But actually, we should book in for that if that's what we can get.
Yeah, I quite like the sound of that. I fancy having me helmet left. It's been a while. He's gone, folks. He's out. Carl's not here right now. We shouldn't do it, really, should I?
Sorry. Oh no!
Stop, you'll have me going next.
It's like the England match yesterday, and now the blessing of the helmets in Fatima. Emotional roller coaster. Last year, of course, no event. So fingers crossed. We'll see. Did she do that on purpose? I think she might have done that on purpose, Gary. Oh.
Composed. Professionalism now. Come on, pull it together, man. Pull it together. If I can do it, you can.
Okay. Hello, good morning. Great show. Are you close to Spain, Gary? Over to you for a moment.
Spanish border will probably be about the nearest bit. Probably be about an hour and 40 minutes away.
There you go. Via Castelabranco, I suspect it'd be a nice little trip, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Have you actually done that? Have you been over to Spain, or have you not needed to bother?
I haven't been into Spain. I went to the border, and like you say, I went through Castelabranco, and it is a lovely drive because from here, you go over our mountains, and then you climb, and then you seem to be climbing forever, and then you get to Castelabranco, and it starts to kind of level out a bit, and then as you head out to Spain, it just goes flat, flat. And that's where all that heat comes from. That's the oven.
That landscape is vast and breathtaking, isn't it? When you see it, you clap eyes on it. Mark Rigby is here. Bon dia from Povoa de Vagim, with the sun trying to peek through the clouds. Thought of you yesterday in the art gallery, the José Malheur gallery. There is. I don't think it's one of his works, but there is a beautiful naturalistic seascape looking at over a beach, and I thought of you. There is a Povoa de Vagim seascape painting in there, which is absolutely beautiful. Mark, if you can make a pilgrimage to Caldas, you will see it. Any suggestions for towns in central Portugal that would not require a car to access shopping and services? Good question, Garvo.
Tomar's the obvious one. Pombal's got everything.
Yeah.
Most of it. I mean, when you say shops and services, I mean, it depends what you're after. I mean, even my town, it's got 2 supermarkets, health centre, hospital, sports centre, swimming pool, camera, citizen shop, post office. So it's for your normal day-to-day stuff. You don't need a car or anything here. It just depends really what you're after. I mean, if you're asking for big nightlife and stuff, obviously you're gonna have to go to a bigger city.
Yeah, and then Doc won't forgive us if we don't mention Leiria, will he? Because that's in central Portugal, and he's got everything. Yeah. And don't forget, Jeff, Portuguese towns were built to be lived in and worked in and shopped in. People's lives weren't based around cars. It's not like there are a few, and the suburbs have developed, obviously, in the big towns. But most even the bigger towns here were built for people to be walking around and living their lives in the town, not a suburban type experience. TP Larson, hola, bon dia, Alegria from California. Are there any bears in the areas where one would go camping or up in the forest? I know, I'm expecting to see a bear run behind Gary now. no bears here. And then I don't think there are any bears in Portugal, are there? The Iberian lynx is about as exotic and safari-esque as it goes, I think.
Yeah, but you'd be very lucky to see one of those.
So not
that's probably the most dangerous thing you're going to come across if you ever do.
and you you don't have to hang your picnic up in the tree at night or anything like that. Apart from the ants, I suppose, which can be quite big here. Lots of talk between our community. That's fantastic, Carl. Unless you are like my Italian friend that says, "Oh yeah, Portugal, the part of Spain that speaks Brazilian." Oh yikes! You'll never see me. That's awful, isn't it? You'll never see me offended. Even then, I will just be pulling your leg back. Well, look forward to that. And Elra, I have to say, yes, that is really great because there is that sort of sense of terrible offence, when there is the Spanish-Portuguese comparison. But I think Portuguese people have got a cracking sense of humour and will pull your leg, as you say, in kind. The constant changes are positively exhausting, agreed. Yeah, Jeff recognising that situation there. And Jonesy as well, saying the Great Reset is upon us. That is another interpretation, and one that we hear more and more, don't we? People starting the sentence with, "I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but..." are you hearing that more and more?
Oh, yeah.
Is that saying it more and more, even? Bacalhau, yuck. Oh, come on, Nigel. And I'm a chef. It stinks even when cooked. Oh, come on, Nigel. I'm sure with a chef and your skills, you can make a thing of beauty with bacalhau. I look forward to it, in fact. Wow, look at that lovely blue sky, a rare sight here. That's, I think, Garvo's rather than my green screen. Fiona and Simon, good morning to you. Em McGowan says it's about creating our environment. Okay, going back to this condition then of constant anxiety and tension. It's about creating our own environment where we meet our basic needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Feel secure in our routines. Keep our bubbles so we have people we can share space with and in which we can hold space for those we care for. Well said, Em. That's why she is a pastoral person of great repute and regard in the Visieux area, caring for people. Also, community groups on Facebook, such as this one, can help reduce the sting. Thank you, Em, for that. Capricorn 12. Oh, by the way, Gov, are you all right for a few more minutes? Because we've had
you. Yeah, as long as his battery holds out, I can be with you.
All right, mate. Bon dia, Capricorn 12. So many astrological references. Back in the UK after 12 days in the Algarve, I had to retrain so that I can become a digital nomad. It's time to quit the rat race. I just love Portugal. Good strategy, Capricorn 12, honestly. Perfect. To continue with my non-secateurs, I have the best breakfast. Buttered papo seco with a big fat fig. That does sound good. And a papa seco, in case you're wondering, I think is a bread roll, basically, isn't it? Fresh baked Portuguese bread roll there. Is that like a fig sandwich you've got going on there? That's an interesting breakfast, isn't it? What happened to the bus trip? The Charabang trip. Well, nothing as yet, but I don't think that's over, the idea of our bus trip. Do you remember us talking about that, Gary? And you were driving, I think, with your green blazer. In your PSV.
And on the right, we have.
It'll be a bit like On the Buses, the movie, and I can shout out to you, Connor, or Jerry can play the part of Blakey. Get that bus out of here, and you could be Reg Varney. Not a bad comparison. All right, Blakey, cheer up, mate. That's going to be a lot of fun. And we can have Olive and her husband following behind with the tricycle, what's it called? A motorbike and sidecar that we borrow from the Alviasra Museum. Always follow the money. It says, with the motorbike and sidecar, is there a couple's version of that big leather blanket so that both people can be protected, do you think?
I don't know. I suppose there must be. Or we just cover her over or something and completely. And
then just get her out the other end. Yes, but please don't search for couples big leather blanket. It can ruin your searches.
Don't go there.
The issues I have with batteries that power cars. Yes, Joel, I don't think he's happy about that either. M, I agree. 110% electric cars are horrendous and is worse as batteries are expected to only last 10 years. Look at the size of a battery under an electric car. They are huge. Makes it difficult for car mechanics too. Yes, Joel, going into some detail here about his thesis. I think there is a small pamphlet that he's writing in the comments about his disdain, I think. Oh, yeah, your piece disturbed only by a distant alarm there. Or is that an exotic bird, Gary?
I think it's a car alarm by the sound of it. Not stop there.
Yeah, good. Probably tourists. Do you know anything about the plans to mine lithium in Portugal? Have they blocked those plans or are they going in? I think they have been knocked back and it isn't very popular. or depending on which way you look at it. I mean, it's hugely financially popular, but there are a lot of groups pushing back against it, Elra. Bang on the money, Gary. Hydrogen is the way. Hank, hey, the lithium mining is terrible too, isn't it? Absolutely. Raquel, new name here. Bom dia todos from Florida. Gary, you should be a regular correspondent in Good Morning Portugal with the little gems around your area. Thank you both. I agree. Whenever Gary's up for doing this, I love him joining me on the show. And I think your contributions have been amazing. The video you made for the Get Out and Grow, all these connections we've made, you've reporting in little videos you made. So thank you. But he can be a bit windy, as you can hear there. All beings should be tribal and reconnected. Tribal is healthy and not the thing that we fear, I suspect, is the point being made there by Amy. It's not all bad, is it? Elra, Linda. Oh, there's lots of comments going on between people. Their typical Portuguese politician scam. Good morning from Joe DS. Let's go to the new names here, or the irregulars. Good morning, Portugal. We'll finally be in the homeland for a month in 3 days. Well done, Joe DS. That's great news. Michael Heron says, thanks, Garvo. I know Coimbra well, but not Tamar or other parts. Many thanks, chaps. Templarios Hotel sounds amazing. Yeah, great pool. The kids will love it. Going back to the blessing of the helmets. Carl's lost it. I really did. I do apologize for that. Are you sure this isn't the man cave? I know, Donna. It was a puerile and immature outbreak. Bon dia from Provence, France, from Robert Finkel this morning. And hold on a minute. So many comments. Lovely. The mother-in-law came over. It was so bad, even the mice were throwing themselves on the traps. You can't beat a good mother-in-law joke, can you? Ron Shea, great laugh, Carl. That laugh is making me laugh. Well, you're welcome. I'm so glad. My son got his helmet blessed the other year. He's very much looking forward to another ride and having another blessing. Thank you, Andy. Stop it. Elra, no, we killed all the bears. That's quite a pragmatic Portuguese way of looking at it. Yeah, we killed all the bears, just wolves and lynxes we didn't manage to finish off. So you might be able to enjoy wolves and lynxes. To the person who asked that earlier on. Last year, there was a bear on the Giresh. Oh, don't you love these, Gary? It's a bit like the Beast of Bodmin. Do you think it's a bit of a rural myth? Or do we think we've got bears on the Giresh?
I think hiding a bear would be rather difficult. And it's funny how your mind, when you see something in the distance and scale and stuff, can get it totally wrong. And this happened the other day. We were out and there was a cat crossing the road. And I thought it was a goat. It looked like a goat. And like I thought, well, better be careful. And as we got closer, I mean, it was quite a big cat, but it was a cat. It wasn't a goat. So, things can be at a distance. Things can look a lot worse than they are.
Yeah, and for every 100 snakes you've seen on the path whilst walking, how many of them actually have been snakes? Do you think?
Well, I haven't. I've only seen one snake, and that was crossing the road, and I almost run it over. I've not seen one yet. Around here, a live one anyway. There must be some.
But don't you keep seeing sticks and branches in the wind that you think are snakes? I do. I see a lot of snakes.
I'm not worried by snakes. I mean, I'd like to see one. They're beautiful creatures, especially some of the snakes they have here.
Yeah.
But like everything else, you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. They just want to get away.
Yeah, but I think you're right, and that's my version of the same thing. I just see a bit of rope or an old cable tie on the path, and oh, that's good.
Stand back, kids. Stand back.
Yes,
I'll deal with this.
I'll deal with this. Get back. So that's interesting. The Giresh bear, also a lovely landscape of the Giresh. That was the thing about the art gallery yesterday. It was a really good little insight into all of Portugal as well, with the various landscapes and seascapes and pictures of beautiful portraits of Portuguese people from yesteryear. Thank you for that, Nuno. And wild boars, of course, as well. The Chevalier. Gary wants to eat those bad boys. Iberian wolves and wild boar. Beautiful animals, especially soaked in red wine for 48 hours, I think, Gary's estimation. Not the wolves, by the way, no. How much would you budget for operating a new small car in Portugal? Lease, loan payment, insurance, maintenance. I realise petrol consumption will vary widely. Trying to decide between car, no car living in Portugal. Expensive buying a motor, isn't it?
Very, very. I mean, why? I don't know, because they haven't got a lot of money here. So making